Sound familiar? You're not lazy. You're human. Procrastination isn't about weak. Our brains love comfort. They're designed to avoid pain and chase pleasure. When a task feels boring, scary, or uncertain, spurs. Wait, do it later. Check your phone first. This tiny delay feels harmless at first, but it's a trap. The long climbing a mountain. Scientists call this the present bias. We'd rather choose what feels good now than what helps us later. It's not because you're undisciplined, it's because your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort. But here's the twist. That protect is bigger, scarier, and harder than it is. There's another trap too. Perfectionism. Sometimes we don't, but that thinking keeps us frozen. We wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect plan. And while we're waiting, eat it. Procrastination isn't a life sentence. It's just a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. The first step is to shine a light on the pattern, which you're doing right now. Imagine for a moment what your life would feel like without how free your days would feel. That picture is closer than you think. Because the opposite of procrastination isn't discipline or willpower. It's immediate action. And that's exactly what we're going to unlock next. Here's not big leaps. Tiny, almost silly steps. That's because action changes your brain chemistry. The moment you do even a small part of the task, your stress drops and your motivation rises. You weren't in the mood at all. But once your shoes were on, something shifted. One small action led to the next. You stepped outside, you started moving, and before you knew it, you were in the workout. That's the power of immediate. Call this the activation energy principle. It takes more energy to start than to keep going. Once you break the seal with a tiny step, the task stops feeling huge. The brain relaxes. Instead of fighting yourself, you're flowing. This is why starting with a 2-minute action. Lighting to start. And starting is everything. Another way to make immediate action easier is the countdown trick. When you catch yourself hesitating, count down from 5. 5-4-3-2-1, go. By the time you hit 1, move. Stand up. Open the book. Send the message. This system. A checked-off box, a sent email, a cleared desk. Each one releases a burst of dopamine, the chemical of progress. Suddenly, the task doesn't feel like a burden anymore. It feels like a game you're winning. Think of immediate action as lighting a match. One small spark can start a fire. And that fire of momentum spreads fast. Imagine how your life could change if every time you felt the pull to procrastinate, you took one small best part. You don't have to wait to feel motivated. Action comes first. Motivation follows. This flips the old belief on its head. You don't act because you're motivated. You're motivated because you acted. But how do you keep that spark alive day after day until it becomes second nature? That's where building a life of momentum comes in. Now that action stops being something you have to push yourself into, it becomes something you naturally do. This is how you build a life of momentum. Momentum starts with consistency, not intensity. Think of a train at rest. It takes a lot of effort to get it moving, but once it's rolling, it's awkward. You might still want to wait, delay, or do it later. But each time you override that impulse with a small action, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching yourself, I'm the kind of person who starts now. One of the easiest ways to lock this in is by creating triggers, little cues that automatically signal action. For example, if you're trying to write every day, make your trigger opening your laptop at the same time each morning. If you're trying to work out, lay out your gym willpower anymore. You're relying on systems. Another tool is the 1-minute rule. If a task takes less than a minute, do it immediately. Reply to that text. Put the dish away. File that paper. This trains your brain to close loops quickly instead of letting them pile up. Over time, your environment stays clear, your mind feels lighter, and action feels natural. As you practice immediate action and start seeing yourself as someone who moves, that shift in identity makes action automatic. Just like a runner doesn't think twice about lacing up their shoes, you won't think twice about starting. But building momentum isn't about being perfect. Some days you'll slip. Some tasks will still feel heavy. That's normal. The key is to restart quickly. Don't wait for the perfect time to get back on track. The next action, however small, is the track. Each restart strengthens. One push-up becomes a stronger body. One honest conversation becomes a better relationship. And all of it started with a 5-second choice to act now. So here's the challenge. Today, pick one area where you've been waiting. Don't plan it. Don't overthink it. Take one action, any action, within the next 5 seconds. That's how you start turning immediate